Welcome to tutorial number 1 for Spectralytics. This tutorial is going to cover uploading GeoTIFFs to your image library. Now, we don't care where the data comes from, whether it comes from a satellite or a drone or an aircraft. We're platform agnostic, obviously, and then we're data agnostic. The only requirement we have is that your imagery is in a GeoTIFF format and that it also has its geospatial coordinates attached to the file. So typically, if you run a bunch of drone images through a mosaicing service to create an orthomosaic, it comes with those geocoordinates attached and is also in a TIFF format. So you can basically walk through this process. We'll show you how to upload it and add it to your library. So number 1, you go to your images, and it brings up the screen that is essentially a catalog of all of your uploaded images. So you have 3 options here. You can upload your own. You can build your own GeoTIFF using WebODM, or you can also contact us for professional services and we can create these orthomosaics for you. But for today's tutorial, we're just going to upload our own GeoTIFF. So you would click into the button. You would give your GeoTIFF a name. So testing for upload. Give it a quick description of what the field is. Field 1, damage assessment. Choose your file. So here's field 1. And then we have advanced options down here that allow you to select which bands you'd like to use to create either a true color or a false color or any kind of combination of bands to see what this imagery represents. So in this particular case, since we're just using RGB and it's a 3-band image, then in the red channel is band 0, and then green is band 1, and blue is band 2. So once you have this selected, you simply hit submit. And then this is very important, okay? You have to stay on this page during the whole upload process. So don't navigate away from it and you won't break that connection. And then you'll get a pop-up alert that tells you when your image has been uploaded and it's ready to be viewed in the archive. So we're going to go ahead and break that because we've already uploaded this image. And what I want to talk about is once you've got it uploaded, now what? What do we do? Okay. So if you were to select that image that you recently uploaded, you can pull up and look at some metadata about it. But let's say that you want to select a small region of your image set because you need that for testing later. You want to try out a particular analytic service, but you don't want to run it across the whole image. You just want to run it on a small subset. So here we have an option for that. If you select the set test region, it brings up your image, and then we allow you to create a small box that will encompass some of the pixels that you're interested in as you create this small region of interest. And then from that box, you hit create the sample, and then it's going to select that ROI and then save it out as a separate file that we'll come back to later when we want to test some of our analysis engines before we run it across the full image set. So if we go back here to the image that was uploaded and we've created a subset from it, you can see that now we've got a small cutout of that subset embedded here in the metadata. Now let's say you want to create a spectral index from this. And you want to use this index for future labeling that we'll go over in more in-depth when we talk about building analysis engines. Then you select this button here in the center that says add a spectral index. And you'll see we've got, you can select from any of 231 different indices. Now, obviously it relates to, or it's dependent on how many bands you have to work with and which regions of the spectrum those bands are in. But let's just say, for example, with this simple RGB image, we're going to do a greenness index. So we would just enter in the term green, and then we would look to see which ones can we use based on the bands that we have available. So we've got an excess green index here. We'll select that. We want to configure it. So our green band is our center band. So that's actually band 1. The red band is actually band 0. And the blue band is band 2. So we're going to calculate the index, and it's going to run all of the imagery data through this formula, and it's going to return back with this colorized map that showcases where the greenness in this particular case is within this image. So this is just for demonstration purposes. Most of the green is in the weeds that are surrounding the edges of the field and not so much the field itself. So this is exactly what we would expect. Once it's built and you're happy with it, you can do other functions, like you can change the colorization on here. And you can also set some of the thresholds here to kind of identify with more precision some of these colored areas, but we'll just leave it blank for now. So click finalize, and then that saves. Actually, let's see, we'll go with -0.1 all the way up to 0.4. We'll leave it there. And then we'll click finalize to save this out. So now what you'll see down here is you've got an example of your index saved along with this file. So the big takeaways from this tutorial: upload your file regardless of its platform, as long as it's in the GeoTIFF format. You're going to give it labels, you're going to give it names and text descriptions, and then you have the option of selecting test regions for future testing and evaluation of analysis engines. And you can also build spectral indices that you'll use for pixel labeling when you're building your analysis engines. So that concludes this portion of how to upload and save and then build these add-on data services for future tutorials that we'll talk about when we have to build these analysis engines and perform the actual analytic service. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you on the next tutorial.